Hello, and thank you for checking out the Lean Six Sigma Tool Guide. Today we're going to take a few minutes to talk about the charter, probably about a 5-minute course on the importance of the charter, a template on how to build one, and the important elements of it. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the obvious question, why charter in the first place? The charter is really key to success for a project because it defines exactly what your intent is and what the metric is that you plan to improve performance on. The cost of the current performance versus ideal performance. This is a crucial part of the charter because it gives you a sense of why the project is important and how important it is in financial terms. Also defines the scope and boundaries to help you really define the depth and breadth of your project, knowing what's off limits and what's within your control. It also gives you a sense of what success looks like compared to the current performance. Key to a good charter is having your project sponsor involved from the very beginning and get very clear direction on what's expected of the project. So here are the key components of a charter. A charter simply really is just a document that gives you a high-level information about the project. Some of the key components are a primary metric. This is the metric that you plan to improve. Typical metrics might be things like cycle time or customer survey results, new hire training final exams, really about any measurement of success that is specific to that function or department. The problem statement. This is really important. Typically in a specific format, this statement encapsulates the reason for the project, the cost of the problem, and the metric that's going to gauge performance of the process. And finally, the defect. What is a defect? What is the output that you want to eliminate or at least minimize? So here's an example of a problem statement. During 2015, the average speed of answer for the widget sales call center was 5 minutes. This gap of 4 minutes from the business objective of 1 minute represents 500 customer hangups per month, estimated at $1 million in lost sales opportunities annually. This is a great problem statement because it tells you exactly what the primary metric is, and it really gives a dollar amount on why the current performance is not acceptable. So here we have that same problem statement. The things in white are really the template, and the things in red are where I kind of filled in the blanks. So typically we're looking at some time period. So we'll say during 2015 or during last quarter, whatever, depending on your project, some time period. The average speed of answer, so that is the primary metric. And in this case, it was for the widget sales call center. That's the department or functional area that is responsible for average speed of answer. And then the current performance was 5 minutes. The next sentence really talks about the difference between the current performance, the desired performance, and what that costs us. So this gap of 4 minutes from the business objective of 1 minute represents 500 customer hangups per month, estimated at $1 million in lost sales opportunities annually. Here we have just the template, and again, it's during some time period. The blank, it's going to be some primary metric for some department, was blank, whatever that current performance was. And this gap of whatever the difference is between current performance and desired performance represents some dollar amount of impact to the company. So we're going to kind of slowly fill in the blanks here. During some time frame, 2015 in this example I'm highlighting, the primary metric, which was average speed of answer, that goes in the second blank, for the widget sales call center, so that's going to be the functional area or the department that you're working in, was 5 minutes. That's the current performance of that primary metric we just spoke about. This gap of 4 minutes between our current performance and the goal of 1 minute represents 500 customer hangups per month, estimated at $1 million in lost sales opportunities annually. So you take everything that's here in white, and you want to fill in these blanks with all the pertinent information that you can. So let's talk about that primary metric. The primary metric is the measurement that will be used to qualify success. So this is really key to understanding what the current performance gap is and what your ultimate goal of improvement is. Typical metrics will revolve around things like cycle time and quality scores, certainly not limited to that. And secondary metrics might also be identified depending on the nature of your project. Secondary metrics typically measure things that are upstream in the process and are really indicators of sub-processes. If you're dealing with a lot of metrics and secondary metrics, certainly work with your black belt and your sponsor to understand the connection there. Scope and boundaries. The scope of the project really defines the functional areas and the processes that will be impacted. The boundaries of the project defines things that are off limits as solutions. Typically, most projects will have a specific metric to improve upon, like cycle time, speed of answer, something. And then the boundary might be no additional expenses. Boundaries help to improve the process using your existing resources and mitigates new expenses and new complications. So general tips for a charter: get your sponsor approval right away. Work with your sponsor to ensure that the charter is addressing a specific need in the business unit. In particular, define what is out of scope, any boundaries that are put on the project, and then the primary metrics, current and desired performance. Establish current performance and desired performance. Financial impact, that was there on the problem statement. Sometimes that's tricky to get to. If the process you're improving doesn't have a real direct and calculable financial impact, but it addresses some clear need in the customer experience, work with your sponsor and your black belt to really articulate what that financial impact is. So if you have any questions or need any clarification, contact anyone in the process and innovation team. And if you found this helpful, please check out our other online tutorials. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.